The second segment of our show. My name is Afrena Muzu. In this segment, we'll be talking about striving for sovereign powers, the Western Togoland story. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to start the conversation. Please, if you're watching, this is the Ghana Agenda. We're on every Saturday. We'll be right back. All right, secessionist movements in Africa are not uncommon, and the continent has witnessed several of them, including Katanga, Biafra, Casamance. Yet, since the end of colonialism, only two nations have achieved full independence. And here we are talking about Eritrea in 1993 and South Sudan in 2011. The Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, in 1963 chose to maintain the borders set by colonial powers to prevent border disputes. However, these movements have remained resilient due to economic and cultural historical factors. Recently, such conflicts have reignited since seen in the war in Tigray and Anglophone crisis in the Cameroon and the resurgence of unrest in Western Sahara. One movement largely overlooked by academics and the media is in the heart of Ghana, the Western Togoland. After World War I, the Allies divided Togoland, a former German colony, Britain, into British Togoland, which was united with Gold Coast, now Ghana, while the French Togoland became present-day Togo. This division was opposed by the Ewe people as it split them between the two territories. Despite this opposition, a 1956 referendum ratified the union with the Gold Coast, creating the independent Ghana in 1957. Post-independence, the Ghanaian government further divided the territory into several regions. Western Togoland today mainly corresponds to the Volta region, the OT region, part of the northern region, the Upper East, and some part of Upper West. While there was some support for unifying Togo as a seventh region of Ghana, this was opposed by the Togolese government, leading to the tension between the two countries. Many Ewes continue to advocate for self-determination. In the 1970s, the National Liberation Movement of Western Togoland, Tolimo, lobbied for unification with Togo. However, the Ghanaian government's decline in support and suppression, particularly after a failed coup attempt in the 1975, led to the movement's decline. In recent years, the secessionist movement has revived under new leadership. In 2017, the Homeland Study Group Foundation announced its intention to declare independence from the territory. This led to the arrest of several HSGF members on charges of treason. Despite this, the group developed a strong advocacy campaign and joined the Unrepresented Nations and People Organization, the UNPO. Subsequently, the Western Togoland Restoration Movement, advocating armed struggle, was formed. In 2020, they carried out a unilateral declaration of independence, leading to violent clashes with security forces. More recently, in 2020, a video showed uniformed armed activists identifying themselves as the Dragons of Western Togoland raising further concerns. The Ghanaian government has responded with increasing pressure against the Homeland Study Group Foundation, and some argue that militarization is exacerbating tensions. It is important to note that military solutions rarely resolve secessionist movement. Instead, they tend to inflame grievances. Experts suggest the need for political consensus and addressing grievances as more sustainable strategy. There is real concern that unaddressed tensions in Western Togoland could escalate, threatening Ghana's stability. However, Ghana has a strong standing reputation as one of Africa's most peaceful countries with 3 decades of uninterrupted democratic governance. Potential solutions may lie in indigenous peace mechanisms like those used to resolve the conflicts in Dagbon, and the involvement of organizations such as the National Peace Council and the Kofi Annan Institute for International Peacekeeping Training Center. Thus, it is crucial to maintain a focus on the region and respect and support peaceful resolution while addressing the underlying issues to prevent destabilization of Ghana. This, I would be joined by the okay, I have a lot of people joining. Okay, I believe there's a little issue there. So I'll be joined by the vice president of the PLO, which is the People's Liberation Council, in Mr. William. I'll get his last name when it comes, and also Mr. Seth Mifetu. So, Mr. Seth Mifetu, welcome to the show. I also have Mr. Geraldo Williams. Mr. Geraldo, welcome to the show today. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think Seth's your, I don't know which of your things to bring up. Okay, Seth, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you now clearly. So, Seth, welcome to the show. I have just been going through, a little bit of a background on the struggle or the strive to obtain sovereignty for the Western Togoland territory of Ghana. I think this issue is one of those that hasn't really been recognized or paid attention to by the media and academics or academia. And we think it is crucial that the government, instead of militarizing, always deploying forces to the region to sort of arrest people who are asking right questions, trying to understand. The union that was actually agreed upon by the United Nations for organizations such as, the union that was agreed upon by the United Nations that, military wouldn't be the way. They had used peaceful means to resolve conflicts like those of Dagbon. We've seen that to have been a strategy that worked in the past in Ghana, and we think such a strategy perhaps should be also the route that we pursue with regards to this matter. Now, people ask, what is the People's Liberation Council's role in this? Where can they? I mean, so we've had several groups, right? Tolimo, we had the Homeland Study Group. Now we have the Western Togoland, I believe, the group that pretty much was asking for armed conflict, and apparently this new group of People Liberation Council. What does the People Liberation Council stand for, and what are you guys actually asking for? Let me start from the vice presidents, right? Mr. Geraldo Williams. Geraldo Williams, thanks for joining us today. This is the first time on the show, and we are very grateful to have you. Please take a little time to introduce yourself so those of us who don't know you can appreciate what you do for the organization, who you are, your background, etc., and then answer to me what this organization stands for and what is that one thing that you are asking for.
Okay. Good evening, my viewers and listeners everywhere they are.
Okay.
My name is William Geraldo, lives in Luxembourg. Short enough, PLC is a group of people of Togoland living in Ghana and abroad. We
Okay.
put up this PLC together, especially advocacy group, to educate our people about what our forefathers voted for. Number one, there's a lot of confusion in Togoland today, or Volta region. A lot of people are claiming independence. We want to be free. We want to move out from Ghana. But PLC is here trying to educate the people not to fall into any trap that Ghana have put in place for them. Because since from the time of Tolimo, there's a trap that everybody have to claim for independence, but our forefathers did not vote for independence. They have voted to be in union, and the union have never seen the light.
Okay.
So we, the PLC people, we are calling on Ghana to do the right thing and give the people what they have voted for so that we can live in unity. That's the way we are going.
Okay, so what is your role? You say you are the vice president. Tell us what your day-to-day look like. Are you in administrative position, organizing position? What do you do?
Yeah, organizing position. Though we are finding it difficult to organize people down home because of the government. Akufo-Addo government is not allowing us to call people on, to educate people about about their rights. Because
Okay.
when you try, you'll be arrested, and they'll lock you up. They
Okay.
just want you to stop. They don't want you to talk about Togoland at all. Talking about or mentioning about the name Togoland in Ghana today is like a taboo.
Okay.
You cannot mention the name Togoland in Ghana today, but we are trying our best to educate people by day, step by step, so that they will get to know the fact that what their forefathers voted for is the union, and we have to see the light of that union.
Okay. Awesome. Let me bring in spokesperson for the PLO, Mr. Seth Mifetu. Seth, you've been on the program multiple times, so I'm sure people know you. And also, I believe people know you from your days in the War Room, where you host the programs strictly dedicated to
Yes,
issues of
Western
Western
Togoland
Togoland.
Situation Room.
Absolutely. Okay. Seth, the last time we spoke, you said one thing that you wanted to do is to educate people to kind of appreciate what the wrinkles that we have left in our historical fabric. And so I want you to help me iron those wrinkles out today by educating us about Western Togoland and why we should be concerned. Why should people still be concerned about this issue?
Thank you so much, Mr. Muzu. When people's rights are taken away from them, it's a very serious violation. It comes across international law and local law. No one wants his unchallengeable right to be taken away from him by force. When that happens, I think we need a special education. People need to understand what went on and what happened before things went that way. That's what I said. Education in this matter is very important. Yeah, today episode, I would like us to, every time we'll be talking about the plebiscite, Ghana, British Togoland Union, and some people don't understand. And we were happy that during the Ghana 66th independence, the president of Ghana himself mentioned that the people of British Togoland are the very people who have the unique opportunity to vote in 1956 to join Ghana at independence. And he said that in a broad daylight at the Volta region during the independence celebration. So a lot of people now are waking up and saying that, oh yes, so what these guys have been saying, actually it is true. It is not just a fabrication story that we are saying. But there is a lot that people need to know about it. So when we have the opportunity, we would like to speak on certain aspects of it so that people who don't know get to know. We are not trying to, tell people what is not the truth, but we tell them the fact, and then they will judge themselves. So today, if you permit us, I would say we'd like to take your viewers through happenings before the plebiscite. There were a lot of stuff that happened before the plebiscite, and we want to go through some of them so that those that don't know, or those that are not aware of those happenings, they will have the opportunity to see what went at the time, what went on before the plebiscite in 1956. So if we'll be allowed, we'll talk a few about it. Thank you so much.
Okay. No problem. So tell us what happened before the plebiscite.
Right. If you see, I have a few documents with me here, but before then, I just want to say a few things that went through between British and France and the United Nations. That will be, it's not the point of discussion, but it will help in a better understanding. Some people will now appreciate the effort of the UN, and some will also recognize the lapses of the UN in this matter. So it's just a little bit background of it. Then when I finish, Mr. Gerardo can come in and in 1952, UN sent a visiting mission to the Togoland. We all knew. For those don't know, Togoland was divided into two. That we have the British Togoland and we have the French Togoland. So in 1952, where we have the visiting mission, UN visiting mission in the Togoland, the report to the UN by the visiting mission in 1952 was that the people of the Togoland want to reunify. They want to unify because the land was one and was divided into two. So all that they are looking for is a unification of the Togoland, so that the two Togoland will come together as it was originally. Now, this report was presented to UN, and UN turned this report as manifestation of the people of manifestation aspiration of the people of British Togoland. Of the Togoland. Yeah, that's how the UN see it. That when the report got the UN, they call it manifestation aspiration. Manifestation aspiration. That's what the UN call it. Now, UN on its wisdom, after saying that UN passed resolution 555, this resolution invites Britain and France, because these two countries were the administrative authorities of the two Togoland. So they passed resolution 555 to invite this administrative authority to establish the Joint Council on Togoland Affairs. The UN want them to establish the Joint Council on Togoland Affairs in order to have the manifestation aspiration of the Togoland achieved. Now, Britain and France, they refused. They didn't do it. They refused to establish the Joint Council. When they refused, UN did not stop there. UN passed additional resolution. It passed resolution 652, resolution 750, and resolution 860 to compel France and Britain to implement the manifest aspiration of the people. When the first one they failed, they implement 3 resolutions to compel Britain and France to establish the Joint Council, so that the manifest aspiration of the people of Togoland, which was the unification of the two Togoland. So they passed those resolutions to have Britain and France establish the Joint Council for Togoland Affairs, so that the aspiration, the manifest aspiration, can be achieved. Yes, still, Britain and France refused. They did not do it. They didn't establish it, and then nothing happened to them. This is disobeying orders from the UN, and UN have every right to punish Britain and France, but they couldn't do it. Why? Because Britain and UN, they are part of the winners of the Second World War, and it is the winner of the Second World War that brought about they established the UN, and they
Okay.
are also veto power members. As we speak today, Britain, France, US, Russia, China, and all that, they are all veto power nations at the UN. And
At the
those
United
who
Nations,
know,
yeah.
those who know how the UN operates. So because of that, UN could not punish them. They were also members of the Transition Council. Look at that. Britain and France, they are also members of the Transition Council. And the Transition Council is in charge of the trust territory.
But
So
why do
how
you
on earth?
think they didn't do it? Why did you think they refused to comply with the
Yeah,
many
their
numerous
refusal is
resolutions?
because they do not want Togoland to go away. They want Togoland for themselves. They want to, put Togoland for Britain. Britain idea was to integrate Togoland into Gold Coast, her colony, which is now Ghana. So there is nothing that the UN will say free Togoland to be on its own. Britain will agree. You could remember Namibia. Namibia was entrusted to the hands of South Africa. South Africa was the administrative powers of Namibia. And when they refused, when they disobeyed UN, UN punished them by taking Namibia away from them. But when Britain and France refused UN or disobeyed UN in such direction, no punishment was given to them. All because their desire for Britain and France was to maintain Togoland as their property. And Britain is is ever ready to integrate Togoland into her colony, which is the Gold Coast, which is now Ghana. So that is the basis of it. So I will just leave that one there, and you will see later on after Mr. Girardo. I have a few letters. I think I've forwarded two of them.
So I mean, just to kind of go back to that point where Britain and Togo being members of the trusteeship board, right?
Yes.
And at the same time, of course, they also hold veto power in the United Nations. Wouldn't France also be interested in integrating the English or the Western part into Togo or to the Dahomey and the new Togo?
No, in the France part, that was the east
for both.
in the France part, that was the East Togo, and France was not ready to release them. So when UN asked them to grant the independence, France told the UN that they are going to grant French Togo independent within the French Union.
Okay.
And the UN didn't accept that. But yet they go ahead and they organize a plebiscite after the British Togoland plebiscite. The Eastern Togoland also have their referendum in October. British Togoland have theirs in May, and then French side have theirs in October. And what happened during the French side was that there was a lot of malpractice during the election. And France reported to the UN that those who in favor of independence within the French Union has won. Yeah, and then Olympio, Sylvanus Olympio at the time, and lead the delegation. They wrote to the UN. They challenged the result and said there was fraud in the election. And UN sent a visiting mission for investigation. So the election was investigated, and they realized that yes, it's actually fraud. The election was not free and fair. So a new election was held. That is why the people who want independence won. Otherwise, France would have integrated what do you call it, French Togoland into a French Union. So both parties are not ready for anything good for the Togoland. The same way Britain idea was to integrate British Togoland into her colony, Gold Coast or Ghana. Yes. So that is why the two were playing, hanky panky with the life and the future of Togoland.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So Mr. Girardo, do you want to add anything to that? I have a comment here that I'd like to read for you first. This comment is coming from Fred Binker. Fred is saying, we believe in United States of Africa. Our group is fighting to remove the boundaries created by the drunkards who met in Berlin in 1884, uniting Transvolta Togoland and the current Togo will never happen. So let me use that as a basis for my question. I mean, if the quest is to unite the whole Africa, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of trying to then separate? Because again, that would have brought together maybe tribes that perhaps were divided across country lines in the past, like where you have, in our case, the were people divided between the current Togo and current Ghana. Those would have been brought together when boundaries are removed. So one would say, are you fighting that cause? Are you supporting that cause yourself for boundaries to be removed all across Africa versus just the narrow focus on the issue of Togoland, which has been grabbed perhaps by Ghana?
Mr. Muzo, I think that is not a question. The question that the person asked, it's not a question. We shouldn't waste our time on it, because what he's saying that we want a united Africa. Because we want a united Africa, we should allow some people's rights should be trampled upon. Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that because Africa is about to unite, we should remove the boundaries created by the colonial powers? How are you going to remove the boundaries? United States of America, we still have the boundaries. We know the boundaries of New York. We know the boundaries of New Jersey. We know the boundaries of Connecticut. I work in Connecticut, but I live in New York. When I get to Connecticut, my GPS just tell me you are not in Connecticut. So there is no way you can remove that. And what we are saying is not because we want to unite, we should allow somebody's right to be trampled upon. What we are saying is that even if we don't do that, if we don't correct these mistakes, it tends to hurt us. It will tend to hurt Africa unification. If Africa unite today, it's a good idea. But this problem needs to be solved before Africa unites. If Africa unite without solving this problem, you think this problem will be solved? It will not. It will only be solved when the union that the people voted is created. So if you are talking about one unification of Africa, so what? Go get your Africa unified. But don't ask of you because you want fish, you should kill somebody to get your fish and survive. We shouldn't do that. That should not. So those things, I don't see that as a question.
Okay, great. Okay, so I want to bring in, the vice president of PLC, Mr. Gerardo as well. Mr. Gerardo, do you have anything you want to add to the presentation?
No, we can continue.
Okay. All right. So you did send me some letters, some documents.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to speak to those documents, what they meant. Tell me the one you're about to speak about, and I can display it for everyone else to see. And I believe these documents are, some of the meetings that occurred before the plebiscite, because like you said, we've been talking about the plebiscite, but there were things that happened before the plebiscite that you wanted to bring to light. And some of them are, enshrining some of these documents that you would like to share. So tell us about the documents, and then maybe we can start talking about each individual.
I don't know if Mr. Gerardo want to say something before I come.
No, continue.
Okay.
Before that, you see one of the letters the document I sent to you. They are document from the United Nations. And I personally got this document from the UN when I wrote to them. So when I am talking on it, I made it clear to people to understand that, well, if the document is wrong, then what UN gave is wrong. So, and you cannot tell me this is wrong. There are documents that UN and Ghana and nobody can deny. But I want to speak on one with the number A/3173, British page 317. And you will see that it says CPP, not that one. It says that CPP/7. It said that CPP/7. It says Convention People's Party, whole district. PO Box 550, 2nd May 1956.
Okay, Start talking about it and I'll pull it out.
Okay, you see that the letter says, on behalf of the whole district executive of the CPP, I wish to place the following report before you for your consideration and necessary action. All right. The letter is there, is with you. You know what it is. If I say I will read it, waste time.
Right.
But all that he's saying is that, yeah, that's the letter I'm talking about. Now, this is a report from the CPP. You could see that the CPP in whole. And now the question is, what we have to understand here is British Togoland is not a Gold Coast property, does not belong to the Gold Coast. CPP have nothing to do with the Togoland because CPP is a party, a political party fighting for the interests of the Gold Coast. So the question here is, at the first place, what right Dr. Kwame Nkrumah have to have a branch of his party in Togoland? So you see, you can have a branch of your party in another man's country, and this is a country that want to have a union with your country, and all of a sudden, CPP, the whole district CPP is writing to the UN to inform them about some actions that is happening in the Togoland. You see, so you see, they have done all those things. This is one of the this particular letter talk about the arrest of one Mr. What's the name? I'm trying to get a name. One, two Aku, the man who at Abutiaklu, it happened in Abutiaklu, where the man beat the gongo, announcing that whoever voted for the CPP will be beaten by the snake and all that. And so they were complaining. Members of the CPP are complaining that that statement, they find it, a little bit disturbing, and they would not give them victory because people will be afraid that if they vote for the CPP, they will actually be beaten by snake or something, calamity will happen to them and their family. But on a deeper sense, what is CPP doing in the Togoland plebiscite? The name of CPP shouldn't have come in the plebiscite because this plebiscite have nothing to do with the CPP. CPP is a party for the Gold Coast, fighting for the interest of the Gold Coast. But you could see the overlap here. They came to British Togoland to put their interest there and fighting for their interest. If you have members in the Togoland, and to the extent that they could even make a complaint, and this man was arrested, he was sent to court and was jailed. If you read the letter, you will see. Right. You see? So why is all this thing? So you could see that the people at the time, they knew the plan, the plot of the CPP. That's one. There's one letter here which talk about the what do you call it? The intention of Britain.
Tell me about the letter so I can pull it up.
Oh, okay. I'm coming. Let me.
So clearly, this one is saying that there's
that is MISC/9 memorandum submitted by the Bako Mijo Habobo.
Okay, MIC/9. Okay.
Yes, that one. Yeah, you see that everything that is there, the Bako Habobo, they make it clear that we, the undersigned representatives of the Mijo Habobo, on behalf of the union, take this opportunity in welcoming you into our midst. That this Mijo Habobo is the only recognized youth association and non-political body whose sole aim is to further social, commercial, economical, and educational advancement in the Bako district. Now they said that this union, which has nothing to do with political parties in Togoland, is nevertheless neutral in anything affecting the destiny of the future of Togoland, since members of the union are all indigenous citizens of Togoland. That is to pride to put on record that Togoland is the first trust territory heading to achieve the basic objective of the International Charter with reference to Article 76b, that although the United Kingdom has given a general testimony to the effect that the Togoland and the United Kingdom trusteeship has so far come up to a standard of achieving the aim of the trusteeship system, it is regrettable to say without fear and favor that we have no confidence in the administrative authorities as far as this plebiscite in the trust territory and the United Kingdom trusteeship is concerned. We will also add that the United Kingdom is an interested party favoring the integration of Togoland into the Gold Coast for their own interest. Listen, if I should go on here a lot, you see, that is the Mijo Habobo. They are made it clear that they are not a political party and they are neutral in this game, and they are saying that this plebiscite have nothing to do with politics because they have to determine their own future, and they are saying that they don't have interest in the administrative authorities, which is the Britain, and they are saying that Britain themselves, they are pushing or they are favoring their own interest, and they made it clear that their interest is what it integrate British Togoland into the Gold Coast.
Right.
When you read through it, you will see. When was this letter? This letter was 29th January 1956, before the plebiscite.
Okay,
so
what day was the plebiscite? Can you remind our viewers the day of the plebiscite itself?
The plebiscite was 9th May 1956.
Okay, the first letter we read was also in May.
Yeah, 2nd May. That was 2nd May 1956.
So a couple of days right before the plebiscite. Okay.
Yes. Oh, a whole lot. This is not everything, but just, a couple of them. So you can see that all these things happen, and I just want the public to know that.
So in your first letter, you are questioning why, CPP would establish in a territory that is not part of Gold Coast. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Okay. CPP have nothing to do with the British Togoland. So why CPP was formed in Southport in 1949 by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah after he broke away from the UGCC. And the UGCC was there. We talk about the Aboriginal Rights Protection Society before coming into UGCC and all that, and coming into CPP. And CPP went ahead to establish a branch in British Togoland.
Okay.
In doing that, you see, in 1949, that it was established. Within 1950, CPP is already in the British Togoland. And Britain at the time should have stopped. You see, Britain would have stopped Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the CPP by forming any political party in British Togoland, because you cannot do that politically. It is wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. You know it. That I don't know which better words I should use to describe that, but people who are watching me and listening to me who know better, they will know the point I'm trying to put across here. That it is wrong to do that, and all these things is towards integration of British Togoland into the Gold Coast. So the idea of integrating Togoland into the Gold Coast was conceived long ago before coming into the plebiscite itself, and that was the reason why in 1952, what we call the manifest aspiration of the people of Togoland, where the UN compelled Britain and France to establish the joint council so that the manifest aspiration of the people will be achieved, that they refuse. You see, you can see all this thing is going on. All this thing is going on. And the demand for integration, this is where the UN did so well. When the demand for the integration of British Togoland into the Gold Coast, UN refused. He refused by passing resolution 944X. 944X. They passed that resolution to adopt union. It was the resolution 944X that led to the plebiscite. And then the plebiscite leads to the resolution 1044 SI. But that is not a discussion today anyway. Next time when we are talking, we'll go there, how those resolutions came about. So you will see that. So I will leave the floor for Mr. Girardo to come in, then I can also say something. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Girardo.
Yeah, I will also like to...
Mr. Girardo, your sound, we can't hear you properly.
Am I okay now?
You're okay now. Perfect.
Okay, I want to refer to a letter from the governor.
Okay, do I have a copy of that one?
I think you have that copy, 660/1.
Say 660/1.
Yeah, Government House, Accra, 25th April 1956.
Okay, I believe I got it. It's the one that is dark. Okay, I'm going to share it. Okay, go ahead.
This letter is from the governor, C.N. Adam Clerk. And he wrote, Your Excellency, I have the honor to acknowledge your letter of the 18th April, which you refer to the visit by Mr. K.A. Bedema, Minister of Finance, to Togoland between the 23rd and 24th March.
Okay. So in this case, Mr. Bedema went to Togoland. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Mr. Bedema is the finance minister
of Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
Okay.
But he crossed the border to another territory to do what we don't know.
Okay.
At the beginning of this year, after consultation with your Excellency and yourself and myself, Gold Coast Minister voluntarily offered an assurance that no minister who was not a native of Togoland will participate in the plebiscite.
Okay.
And when you go on, you can see that a lot of elements.
I mean, take your time and read it so we can all get the gist.
Because I'm reading from the
I can go ahead. I says in making this assurance, it was their intention that ministers should not attend or speak at public what is that word? Meetings or rallies held in connection with the plebiscite. It was not ministers' intention that they would disassociate themselves for the period of the plebiscite from the Togoland supporters of their party, nor was it their intention that no minister would enter Togoland during the period. As Your Excellency is aware, Togoland during this period, as Your Excellency is aware, Togoland during this period, as Your Excellency is aware, both Mr. Asafu Ajayi, at that time Minister of Local Government, and Mr. Jantua, Minister of Agriculture, have openly visited Togoland in the course of their ministerial duties. But so far as I am aware, they were at pains not to attend or to speak at any public meetings organized in connection with the plebiscite. With the greatest respect to Your Excellency's views on the matter of Mr. Bedema's activities during his recent visit to Togoland, there does not seem to me to be any issue of principle which would prevent Gold Coast ministers from taking the fullest part in the plebiscite if they so wished. It is the view of the plebiscite administrator, which I share, that participation in plebiscite activities by persons residents outside British Togoland is neither illegal nor objectionable according to the recognized plebiscite practices. In the instant to which you refer in your letter, Mr. Bedema appears to have visited Togoland to meet some of his party organizers and sympathizers and to have them at pains to ensure that these meetings were private and that no publicity attached to his movement. I see nothing, and I think that is where he ended. So what is your interpretation of this?
It goes on again. You can follow up.
Okay, let me see if the next. Okay, so it follows that. Okay, so the last thing there says that I see nothing objectionable in this. I know of no legal or other powers which could be used to prevent Gold Coast ministers from entering Togoland or from taking a full part in the plebiscite campaign if they so wished, save their own voluntary undertaking, which appears to have been misconstrued by the Togoland Congress. I am confident that Your Excellency can continue to rely on the assurance given by Gold Coast ministers that no minister who is not a native of Togoland will attend or speak at public meetings or rallies held in connection with the Togoland plebiscite. With renewed assurance of my highest consideration, I have the honor to be Your Excellency's obedient servant. All right. So, and this was written by or signed by Aden Clark, governor. So, explain to us what this it's trying to tell us.
Yeah, this simple meaning that from the beginning, the British have a brain behind
Okay.
just to integrate Togoland into Gold Coast.
Okay.
And not today. So they have done everything possible to add the Togolese or the Togoland into Ghana, confusing the people, making campaign, bringing people from Gold Coast to write names, CPP members, CPP elements. For example, Ghana today, as we have it, want to be a union with Burkina Faso. Can Ghana send members, people from Ghana to Burkina Faso to write names? Can minister from Ghana go to Burkina Faso to campaign?
All right, but all this sounds like
all these things happen, but we don't want to complain about these things.
Okay.
The only thing we want is, upon all, they made a vote. And that vote, for example, this is the ballot paper. And on the ballot paper, there's nothing like union or separation. That is what the people voted for. But the symbol of the union is only on the ballot box. And the symbol of the separation also on the ballot box. So any paper that they found in the box is what they count.
Right.
So they said they make a lot of things just to win the union.
Okay.
Because they believe that when the union won, then they can do their
integration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Union won. When the union won, now what is the agreement? Nobody, the people of Togo did not have a government. Nobody is there for them. They become like orphans because British leave them away. Nobody is there for them. Nobody is there to talk for them, to sign any agreement with government. So today, we, the people of PLC, we are just saying that enough is enough. We have lived together for over 67 years or 67 years now. Togoland matter will not end. Otherwise, it should have ended about 20, 30 years ago. But it's like something just happened yesterday. Let's sit down like brothers and sort things out.
Okay.
It's not a matter of arresting people in Togoland will solve this problem. Because today, we people, we are like John the Baptist. We are trying to baptize people or by water. And next generation will come. People have done it before us. Maybe that generation, they will not come like us. They will come like Akai. Different form. Because they will say, oh, our forefathers have tried, they never succeed. We will not follow that trend. We have to look different way. We all love Ghana. We all love Togoland. This thing can be arranged amicably and find a solution. That's what PSC stand for. It's not about fight. It's not about separating Togoland from Ghana. We have intertwined a lot.
Well, if anybody can do it, is this president, because as you recall, he was able to broker the conflict in the between the Dagbon, is it the Dagombas and the Kukunsao. I don't exactly remember the name of the two factions that were fighting in the north, but he was able to broker the Dagbon conflict. So he's, someone perhaps who can do that. Have there been any contacts, any um, attempts to suggest an amicable resolution to these issues? Because what I currently see, it's people get arrested. There's a militarization of the conflict, or sort of militarization of or a military solution always deployed to quash anyone who attempts to raise these issues. But it sounds to me like you think there is a peaceful path forward. Has there been any contacts in that regard?
For now, no. What we are doing now is only advocacy, because when you try to put your case across, they will not even give you a listening ears.
Okay.
Because they believe you are a secessionist. Being a secessionist or to succeed is not a crime. Britain just succeeded from European Union. If you go to the right channel, and we are not talking about succeeding from Ghana. No, we are only based on the union. Do they have the union? When you talk, they will only say, look, people voted for plebiscite. Plebiscite is just the name of the vote, and that plebiscite, the people have choice. The choice is union or separation. Nobody in Ghana radio will give invitation to people of Togoland. No, they only call Ghanaians to come and talk about Togoland's story or Togoland history. Whereby they leave the people of Togoland away. They will call people from Ashanti region, people from North, people from whatsoever, whereby they are not Togolanders, to come and talk about this. They will come and say, yes, the people voted in plebiscite, that's why they are Ghanaians today, and this and that. But that's not the whole story. Mr. Muzu, you can only tell your own story. Nobody can say it. We want the government of Ghana to understand that this matter will not die today, will not die tomorrow, unless we find a solution to it.
Right.
We don't want to go to the second phase of it. Where we are, it's okay. A lot of people have died. People are still in cells. People are still in prison in Sawam today because of this. Some were sentenced 5 years each. Some were still there without charges. Over 2 years, going to 3 years, they are still there. This
without charge, they haven't been charged yet.
Yeah, at all. No, nothing.
Okay.
We cannot talk about it.
Yeah.
We have a president in Ghana who is a human rights lawyer, but in court in 6699 bracket, he's not a human rights lawyer. He's just like how to say.
Well, if you're going to be negotiating with him, you don't want to say anything negative. So.
Yeah, if I could come in, Mr. Gerardo, if I could say something with the letter, and with your question about the conflict that you were talking about, I think that this is why the advocacy and education is very important. If people get educated and they know what is it, then there is no way you can go about beating the bush. It's because a lot of people are ignorant about the issue pertaining to British Togoland. So like the document that we are reading, like I said, these are authentic documents from the United Nations. And what you just read from the governor, Sir Charles Adin Clark, he is the last governor of the Gold Coast. So people who are watching should be wondering that, even the governor himself, a man that have spent a 2 billion pounds sterling of British Togolanders reserved on Gold Coast, and he tell me that he spent it on the plebiscite, but it's only up to him. Only God knows if it is true. But that same man is writing to what? Espinosa. Espinosa is the UN plebiscite commissioner. He writing to them, and look at the complaint. What you just read, the complaint he is complaining to them. And I'm just interested at the last part that he said, I know of no legal or other powers which could be used to prevent Gold Coast ministers from entering Togoland or from taking a full part in the plebiscite campaign. So he was not just making that statement for fun. He realized that something a law, legislation should be put in place to prevent these people from these ministers from going into the British Togoland to campaign for the plebiscite, because he knew that it is inappropriate. It is not right. He knew it. Everybody know it, and that is why Adin Clark, on the very second paragraph, he made it clear what you just read. He said, at the beginning of this year, after consultation with Your Excellency and myself, that is the Espinosa and he himself, Adin Clark, Gold Coast ministers voluntarily offered an assurance that no minister who was not a native of Togoland will participate in the plebiscite campaign.
But
so
let's
he said this from the beginning. So the ministers of the CPP ministers going to the Togoland is not just going there as a visit or as a diplomat or whatever. They go there to campaign for the plebiscite.
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit, right? It does appear that there are natives of Togoland who are ministers of Gold Coast. So how is that possible? Because here's where we are saying, of course, non-native ministers shouldn't come in and campaign, right?
Yes.
And it seems it's carving out some room for native ministers, which kind of makes me think, wow, so even Gold Coast then had some ministers that actually happened to be Togoland citizens. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. It's
Okay.
not correct.
Why would there be that reference?
Yeah, if you are a native of the Togoland, and because CPP is already established in the Togoland, which is wrongfully established in Togoland, some chiefs, some of the letters were written by some chiefs in the Togoland in the name of CPP. So even some chiefs in the Togoland, they were initiated into the CPP, and they are members of the CPP. So once what do you call it? The Gold Coast can take you as their minister in Gold Coast. You are not a minister in, what do you call it, British Togoland. If you are a Ghanaian and a Nigerian take you to come and be their minister, it is that problem. You are not a minister of Ghana. And so, therefore, when ministers of Nigeria are being prevented to come to Ghana to campaign for certain things, you don't say, because I am a Ghanaian, but a minister of Nigeria, I will come here and campaign for this. No. If you do
the
that,
reason I'm asking that question is that there's always the reference to the fact that the Togoland territory did not have leaders who could represent them in any negotiation with the Gold Coast. And for that matter, there couldn't be any negotiation of, whether there should be an integration or not. Now, here is the case where there are natives, right, who are raising up to become ministers in Gold Coast, which is the country that was going to merge with the territory. So could those leaders not perhaps be negotiating on a behalf which perhaps may not be known to the Togolanders?
Amuzu, if you are a Ghanaian and you have appointment in American government, you cannot negotiate on behalf of Ghana.
But
that is your personal appointment. But I will come to why you are talking about that. I will tell you those people.
But I'm saying that at the time, there was no country per se called Togoland, right? It was a territory that was hanging. So it's not like now that we have a Nigeria and Togo, and if you are Togolese and meanwhile you are a minister in Ghana, that you are a minister in your own personal capacity and not in the capacity of Togo, the country. But in this particular case, that country was really not an official country. It was a territory that was
it was a trust. It was a trust territory. British Togoland was a trust territory, and it was Britain was given the power by the UN to set up, to help the people to set up a government for that territory, just as British did for her colony. British helped them to set up a government for them. So it was UN idea that Britain will also help these people to set up a government. So Britain have the power to make sure that British Togoland have a government to represent its interest.
Right.
This is what British failed to do. They also failed to do that because if you have a government for the British Togoland, then you will not integrate, you cannot have the power to integrate British Togoland into your colony, the Gold Coast. So Britain failed. It failed to help British Togolanders to establish their government. We have the Togoland Congress at the time, which was a political party representing the interests of British Togoland. But after the plebiscite, they were changed out. They were changed out. And now, the people you were calling the ministers from the British Togoland were actually not ministers from the British Togoland. You could see that Bedema and the rest, they were people fall within the Anglo district. And those people, whether legally or illegally, by 1952, by the British Ordinance or colonial ordinance, which I know for sure that that ordinance is against the Transitorship Council, and the UN did not even approve it, integrate these people into the Gold Coast at the time. So they see themselves as Gold Coast near or Gold Coast landers, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you could see that is the reason also why when we were going into the plebiscite, they cut off those people out of the plebiscite. They didn't take part in the plebiscite because they think that that illegality or that illegal action of Britain has brought them into the Gold Coast. That is why sometimes some of us, we don't want to talk about those things. But when certain things of that should be left for the UN to decide whether British Ordinance 1952 was actually something that can hold. Because when you look into the Transitorship Agreement, Britain have no right to take part of British Togoland into her colony. And if you have to do that, it must be approved by the UN. So if that British Ordinance has been approved by the UN, that's fine. But I know for sure that it was not approved by the UN. So they did what they can do to cut back. This is why I'm telling you, everything from the very beginning, it was just towards integration. It was just towards integration. So when British did all those things, he think that he has succeeded in having part of the Togoland into her colony. So he need to fabricate some lies to tell the UN why they should deny integration into the Gold Coast. That's why British said that what do you call it? British Togoland do not have coastal line. They cannot. It will be difficult for them to trade with other countries and here and there. They say their political future is in Ghana, in the Gold Coast and stuff like that. But UN also refused that. That is not anything to deny somebody inalienable rights. You see, all because they were able to maneuver certain portion into the Gold Coast. And that's why you are hearing the names like Bedema and the rest being the finance minister of the CPP at the time, of the Gold Coast at the time. So those people are not seen as members of the native of the what do you call it? British Togoland. As I said. So they are not members of the British Togoland.
Okay. All right. So the way forward, do you think perhaps Britain might be a key player in getting this matter resolved? And if so, of course, you're doing advocacy now, but of course, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can multitask and do multiple things. Has there been other efforts towards at least getting Britain to recognize some of the mistakes or deliberate actions, perhaps illegal actions that they have taken in, for instance, the ordinance that gave them, Kita and Anglo area to Gold Coast to be rectified? I mean, are there steps being taken to ensure that you have those channels of communication open and that you bring them on board to assist you on this journey?
Oh, there is nothing I think Britain would do at this point. because they are the people who caused this problem. They are the people who caused this problem, because Britain was the administrative powers. They were given full responsibility by the UN, by the resolution 1044 SI after the plebiscite, to take such steps to bring about the union. And that steps were not taken. All because, like I told you from beginning, the idea of Britain is to integrate British Togoland into the Gold Coast. The idea is not to give British Togoland any kind of independence, nothing. So
yeah, I get it.
Getting integrating British Togoland into the into Gold Coast was the sole idea by Britain and Kwame Nkrumah. So they have achieved their aim. This is what they want to do, and they have achieved it. But you see, they made a mistake. It is integration you want. You should stand by it, fight the UN to achieve your integration, and we have nothing to say. Now you were not able to fight UN to the fullest, and you go by the UN resolution to establish a union between British Togoland and Ghana. That, and you ask people to vote on this, and they vote for union on this. So if the people vote for union for this, and you turn around to do your integration, the children of those people will be complaining because their forefathers did not voted for integration. That is why this issue can never end. And anybody who sits somewhere saying that Africa is going to unite, I wonder when Africa is going to unite. Anyway, Africa is going to unite. So we shouldn't talk about this. Well, people should be there and talking about Africa unity.
Right. Okay. There's a comment here that says the Western Togoland, and I believe this is coming from Eric Zackley. He says Western Togoland and Gold Coast Union must be established. Okay. And then of course Togby Gemedra says we are listening to you guys. Just tell them how Ghana's government don't want to understand. I believe he's trying to say Ghana government doesn't want to understand the right of the people of Togoland. So anyway, somebody else says Samuel Deku says congratulations and God bless you all. We are fully behind you. We want the union or secession, rebellion, whatever and whichever, anything which would draw and establish a thin line between Western Togoland and Ghana. We are for it. But integration, I think he's saying integration is something there now. Is it integration? But integration with Ghana, no. Okay, so that's what Samuel says. Thanks you for the comments. Please keep them coming. It keeps my listeners, my guests happy and know that you are watching, listening, and interacting with them. So let's go on to
you can pull up the letter from the United Nations delegation to the United Kingdom delegation to the United Nations. That was October 29, 1954, and this letter was before the plebiscite.
Okay.
Is United Kingdom delegation to the UN. That's the United Nations. New York. October 29, 1954.
Okay, hold up tight. Don't move. All right. So this is the United Kingdom delegation to the United States. Perfect. I got that. Okay.
Yeah.
So this letter, do you want me to read it or you got this?
No. Because it is not fully clear, because you see some of the documents are very old. But when you are reading, you can see some of the thing properly.
But I think
the main idea is there. You see that this letter, you see that this letter was written by B.O.B. Gideon.
Okay.
See, it was signed by B.O.B. Gideon. You see?
Okay.
So you could see very much well that he was trying to say that, he said, I had a meeting the other day with the horrible Dr. Dankwa, who is, as you suspected, likely to do us harm over Togoland. He contends that the people of the Gold Coast have not been consulted and do not, in fact, want to join with Togoland. That is even enough. This is JB Dankwa, member. I think he's one of the founding members of the UGC. And now he is telling the United Kingdom delegation to the UN, led by B.O.B. Gideon. After they had a meeting, he is telling them that what do you call it? Gold Coast was not consulted on the issue of British Togoland, and in fact, the Gold Coast do not want to join with the British Togoland. Now, Mr. Muzu, this is 1954. Now, if you go through, you will see the plot in that letter that the idea Britain had at the time is just to integrate British Togoland into the Gold Coast. So, why should Britain camouflage this as a union? If integration you want, stand for it. Don't move away. And we will not have this. Now, you could see Dr. Dankwa is very clear. Today, we don't know whether the Gold Coast people agree to join their territory with the British Togoland or not, because they did not have any referendum to decide whether they want the union or they don't want the union. They don't have that referendum. They don't have it. So we don't know. That is what J.B. Dankwa is saying. He is saying that, in fact, the people of the Gold Coast, they don't want British Togoland to join them. They don't want that. And it is clear. And it is nowhere. There's no document that anybody can pull out and see that, oh, the people of the Gold Coast actually want British Togoland to join them in Europe. There's no document to prove that. So what is the point?
Essentially, JB is right.
Exactly. You see? So these are some of the problems.
So today, you have the JB Dankwa tradition in power. So I'm saying they are more likely to assist resolve this matter, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, but we also need education, because even if they try to resolve this matter, the people of Ghana and the people of the British Togoland have to understand and know that British Togoland is not a British colony and it's not part of the Gold Coast. They voted, as the president said, at vote, they voted to join independent Ghana in the form of a union. So that political union, we're supposed to have it. There is a difference between a political union and integration. Integration and union are not the same. If we want to go into that, we will see the difference. We are talking about union here, not integration. So once the people voted for union, give them the union. And people have to understand, both Ghanaian and people from the British Togoland, they have to understand that when Gold Coast exists, British Togoland also existed.
Okay, describe to me what this union would entail. So let's say in an ideal situation, Ghana agrees to grant the unionship to the Togolanders, right? What would it look like?
When we are talking about political union, we are talking about where we have two governmental level negotiations. That two governmental level will come together to negotiate. That the two parties will negotiate their rights in the union, and where each party will preserve its identity in the union.
Okay, so which is the party, the leadership that the current Ghana should be negotiating with?
That's what I'm saying. If we go on and on, Ghana have to allow British Togolanders to have a governmental level. They need to have a government established, representatives that will represent them in this matter. That is what British failed to do. British would have allowed British Togoland to have a representative that will represent them in the union. So for now, me talking to you, People Liberation and any other person in British Togoland do not have the will of the people to represent them, unless the right is given to the British Togolanders to choose their leaders who will represent them, and that's where we have a governmental level negotiation. Ghana cannot go and be negotiating with Sri. Togbi Swing doesn't represent British Togoland. Ghana government cannot go to Togbi Apede and be negotiating anything with him. Togbi Apede is not representative of British Togoland. Nobody have appointed him as I'm speaking now.
Okay.
Until the time that the right is given to the people of British Togoland, and they will say, "Oh, we have voted for Togbi Apede. You know, we have voted for him to represent us. Oh, we have voted for Naba or whatever
but
to represent
at the
us."
time Kwame Nkrumah, for instance, was negotiating with the British to obtain independence, he wasn't voted for by the Ghanaian people to do so. So why would you necessarily want some type of decision from the general population of the Togolanders who currently are integrated into Ghana?
Kwame Nkrumah didn't do that as a Kwame Nkrumah. He did that as a leader of the CPP. He have a political party that was given license in Ghana to operate. So when today People Liberation Council have been given the license by Ghana to operate, that is why we can speak without fear and favor. So Kwame Nkrumah at the time, he was a political party just like the NDC, just like the NPP. They were given the mandate because you have to register your party. That means that they have accepted you. So Kwame Nkrumah's party, CPP, have been accepted. So he speaks on behalf of the CPP. So it's not just Kwame Nkrumah.
No, I mean he won you know, the prime ministership under CPP, but
and you remember Kwame Nkrumah when he was arrested by the British in 1952, when he was in prison and Bedema have to campaign for him. They allowed the people to vote for him. They vote for him and he won. So if he won by the people, that means he has been given the mandate. The people are in favor of him.
Okay.
So yeah, so the people of British Togoland should also be given the opportunity. Mr. Muzu, that was the reason why Kwame Nkrumah dismantled Togoland Congress, because Togoland Congress was a registered political party in British Togoland. They were representing the interests of Togoland.
Okay.
But Kwame Nkrumah had to sack them, had to make them disappear, because if they are in existence, they will give him problem.
All right. Okay, give me, I guess what I'm trying to get is, and Mr. Gerardo, feel free to jump in anytime. What I'm trying to get is, I'm trying to get that final picture of, you know, a union between Togoland and Ghana, right? Where I'm trying to see, what does that look like? What would be, so of course, you are alluding to the fact that, you know, Togoland will have a government of its own, all right? That coexist in a unionized country with Ghana. And then what else?
Well, if you should have a union, like I said, it is the governmental level that will decide the kind of a union we should have. Maybe Ghanaians, if you ask for
ideas, right? Because you are fighting for this cause, you're educating people, and I feel like you should have some ideas. I believe Mr. Gerardo wants to come in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to come in with a document that says what the plebiscite means.
Okay.
What they promise the people. What it means to vote for the plebiscite. Let me read. In May, you, the people of Togoland and the United Kingdom trusteeship, will be asked to determine your future. As you know, the Gold Coast will soon become a fully independent country. When this happens, it would not be possible for Britain government to continue administrating the territory in the same manner as it does the present. This was exampled by Britain government to the United Nations, and as a result, the visiting mission came into the territory from the United Nations last August to find out the best way to decide the future of your country. The visiting mission has recommended the United Kingdom, the United Nations, and the British government have agreed that the plebiscite should be held so that all the people of Togoland and the United Kingdom trusteeship who are eligible to vote may be given the opportunity of deciding what your future is to be. Your
Okay.
choice, then continues, your choice, that is in the plebiscite, the choice of the people. One, when you come to make your vote, you will be asked to choose between these two alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
One, do you want the Union of Togoland and the British administration with an independent Gold Coast? Let me repeat again the question. This is what the
Mm-hmm.
people wanted for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the Union of Togoland and the British administration with an independent Gold Coast? Question number two, do you want the separation of Togoland and the British administration from the Gold Coast and it continues under trusteeship pending the ultimate date, the ultimate determination of its political future?
Mm-hmm.
It continues. You will make your choice by putting a ballot paper into one of two boxes as it as in the Gold Coast general elections. But
Mm-hmm.
this plebiscite, there will be no candidates because you will be answering a question about the future of your country, not choosing a man, but presenting your, not choosing a man, presenting you. It is your duty as a citizen to vote in this plebiscite so that you can help to decide how Togoland will be governed. This is very important matter which will affect your children and your children. And our people voted for the union, for their children. Now the problem, where is the union?
Mm-hmm.
That is our question. Our forefathers tried to find this answer to this question during Nkrumah time, but they did not. At Chapon time, they were not. Only Chapon put the SMC 20 on them, that you cannot even mention the name Togoland. And today, that law is still working in Ghana against people of Togoland. When we talk about Togoland, people says, no, about Togoland matter is too old, is too far, let's forget about it. If you can remember the coronation time, just last month in Britain, the Shantihini was there and even trying to claim some of the stolen items that the British stole from them in 1874. That one is not too old, but that one is correct. Ghanaians can claim that. Ashantis can claim it. But the people of Togoland, they are second-class citizens, so they have no right to claim their identity.
Okay.
So we're only putting it across that the people have to understand where we are coming from. We are not fighting anybody. We are not insulting anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do the right thing because you can see Ghana has been built on insincerity, and we have to watch this thing out from being in this situation today. Look, the genesis of union is from Togoland and Ghana. Nkrumah failed that one. That's why he failed for African Union as well. If
Okay.
Nkrumah had succeeded in building Togoland and Ghana Union, African Union will stand. But that is the genesis. Africa, cannot stand today if they still fail Togoland union with Ghana, because that is the genesis, number one union on the continent. We
Okay.
must go back. If we want the union for Africa, we must look through this. Togoland Ghana union should be number one. Then from there, we will set the record straight.
Okay. Awesome. There is a comment here that I would like to read for you, Mr. Gerardo. Is saying that this is coming from Alex Gota. He's saying that congratulations for the good work that you guys are doing. Please, I want to ask you guys why it is that anytime we are approaching voting, then you people start raising these issues, because I heard that Amau and let me just take it off and then read that. It says, I heard that Amau and Lache, who is fueling this in sense that some of us will get angry and decide not to vote, then the votes of NDC would definitely reduce. Truly, some of us, the way that we take this thing serious, I think it doesn't yield much results. So thank you. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
answer this question is just simple for me.
yeah.
When it comes to NPP, NDC,
Mm-hmm.
what Togoland affair,
Mm-hmm.
NPP is doing better than NDC.
Okay.
Akufo-Addo claimed 6 months that the people of Togoland voted to join Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Mahama was saying there's no territory like Togoland. But Mahama, his great grandfather is from Gonja. He's a
Mm-hmm.
Togoland. His great
Mm-hmm.
grandfather were the people, the Kwame Nkrumah and British people gave bicycle and Greenwald to vote for the Union.
Mm-hmm.
They are the people who put us in this very mess. The Northern people. Where are they today? They ran away. The people from the South all voted for separation. The people from the North are the people who voted for the Union because they were given Greenwald and bicycle. That bicycle was called Busnanga Volvo. For them, when they voted for the Union, did they stand to establish the Union? Where are they today?
So there's an allegation that the regional minister, Mr. Latcher, and Ameu, who's minister from
Mr. Muzu, don't even mind them. Don't even mind them. I think that some of the questions should be answered by you, Amuzu, because you, Mr. Amuzu, you know very well that this issue has been in the system for a very long time. It's not just now. So why should somebody saying that anytime we are approaching election, you knew this issue was there since Kwame Nkrumah time? Tell the person who got the message that he is not or she is not, current. You should try to follow events. If you don't know something, you don't just say anytime we are approaching election. Who told you anytime we are? You should have answered that question. Listen, there is nobody fueling the issue of British Togoland. Nobody is fueling it. If anybody is saying that, you're just saying that to score a political point for your NDC. You think NDC care about you? Go ahead. They care about you. We don't care about nobody. We care about British Togoland and Ghana Union. That is what we are saying. Something that will make everybody feel good and feel better. If you think that NDC will make better, the Ketasi is consuming you, and you are fighting for see the best one. Some of these
one at a time. Okay. Samuel Deku is saying if NDC votes reduce, does it concern you? I think it's the same thing, but
no. What has got to do with that? We are not talking about NDC. That is none of our business. We are only talking about Ghana, British Togoland Union. So if somebody votes to reduce, what does that got to do with somebody? Please.
Okay.
Mr. Muzi, don't be reading some questions.
Let me make it clear to Mr. Alex.
Right.
Alex, understand this thing. Togoland is far, far older than NPP and NDC. So when we are talking about Togoland, please don't bring NPP or NDC in. We are dealing with Ghana. Whoever leads Ghana is the person that we are going to face.
Okay. All right. NDC and MPP are younger when it comes to Togoland. Togoland is far, far important and a bigger issue than the political parties of NDC and MPP. It's the word. All right. Guys, we've had some very fruitful discussions. Is there any other thing you want to share? Let me start from Seth. Is there anything else you want to share before we? Okay, so just for people who are watching, we're gonna continue this conversation. The understanding is to try to see if maybe once a month or so we can revisit some of the developments in this front and continue with the advocacy. The importance of knowing our histories, it's cannot be played with, and so I find it refreshing and I learn a lot each time we do this. There's this documents that you have brought to bear today are things that I haven't seen in my life before. Even though we go through the educational system in Ghana, nobody makes the considered effort to actually introduce the people to the history of the country in the way and manner in which you continue to do each time I bring you on here. So I really appreciate that, and therefore we'll continue the conversations perhaps monthly if your time would permit. What other additional information or materials do you want to share before we bid our viewers goodbye?
I would like to put one letter across.
Yeah.
And put it on the screen for me. It's a letter dated no date on it, but it's a Togoland plebiscite. First prize is a competition.
Okay, Togoland plebiscite first prize is a competition. Okay, got it.
I think you have it, or it's too small. If you can read it for me, please.
I have it. I can. You want me to read it for you?
Yeah.
Perfect. So taking it from the top, I'm gonna open it. So it says, Togoland plebiscite. The United Nations Plebiscite Commissioner has awarded the first prize in the essay competition to Ruth Galevo from EPC Middle School, Bedza. And then he went on to say the importance of the British Togoland plebiscites. So this was written in both English and Airway. So I'm going to read just the English piece, right? It says, "My dear and beloved people of British Togoland, as one of your little children, I have gratefully accepted the United Nations Plebiscites Commissioner's kind invitation to speak to you about the importance of the pending plebiscites, of which you are all." What is that? That word is missing. Okay. And then it says, okay, as you are all aware, United Nations stand for the protection of human rights, and their past and present achievements are countless. On Wednesday, 9th May, they will ask you for the first time in our country's history to take a definite decision on a major issue. The request is not only a big opportunity for which we cannot be too grateful, but a very great responsibility. Our country's future, either good or bad, would depend on the choice you will make of one of the two alternatives set before us. Upon you, therefore, rest our immediate and future destinies. Whichever choice you may decide to make, you must first count the cost. My beloved people, we, your children, humbly request you to bury your differences and get together for a wise and noble choice. After all, we are all brothers and sisters. We are not enemies. I think famous men and women are famous everywhere. Likewise, fearless people are fearless everywhere. For sound judgment and a wise choice, we humbly pray for God's guidance. I remain, my beloved men and women of integrity, your lovely daughter, Ruth Calevo. So this got to be the, the essay written by Ruth that won her the award.
Yeah. From page 18. Okay, in this letter, the lady advised that the people should make their choice for the alternatives. The two alternatives will be put in before them.
Right.
So they should make a wise choice. And the people have made a wise choice, which is the union. Somebody will say, why did we are stressing on the union? We have to stress on it because that is the choice of the people. You cannot vote for Akufo-Addo and then go and put you Baba there. Baba, you did not vote for Baba, you voted for Akufo-Addo. Our forefathers voted for the union. Did we see the union? Ghana should be reasonable in this case. Yes, true. They should be fair to the people of Ghana. The technocrat have to tell the president, look, this is going on and on. Let's build this country. Let's put it on the track. Number one is we fail the union. If Ghana is in union with Togoland, did you think what is going on in Ghana will be going on today? That they have to be arguing on birth certificates. Your mother is Ghanaian, your father is Ghanaian, but you, the child, you are not a Ghanaian. You have to go through a process to become a Ghanaian. Is it not a shame? Is it not? A big shame.
Right.
So we are only putting it before our people. People of Togoland have to understand that even the little girl from middle school wrote an essay and won the first prize. So the people should make their wise choice. not to fight, to make their wise choice. They have made the wise choice. Let's support the choice today and stand on our feet and ask the Ghana government do the right thing for us. We want our identity. We are not Votarians. We are Togolese, British Togoland people. That is not our. That is our name. If they call you Votarian, they call you that is your nickname. Right. Your identity is lost. Ghana is Gold Coast before. Now is Ghana. Togoland was British Togoland before. Today is what? No name. Right. You are a man without a name, and now a man without identity, an orphan. Let's our people come together so that we can fight for our identity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
if I can just comment, if I could comment on the same letter, you could see that I have a copy of the letter here. You could see that our sister, for now, she may be our grandmother by now. Yeah, our grandmother at the time that she was very young, you know, at school, she was able to see exactly. And this is why, if people are telling me that we want Africa to unite, and why are you saying this and that, you could see very much well that British Togoland issue, it was not a secret issue. It was a public thing, that even a school competition was held up on it. The choice that to be made was made known. It was two choices. And our grandmother now, she was a little girl at the time, but now she's our grandmother. She made it clear that it was two choices, and advised. I think she did not attain the age of 18 years to vote at the time. So she was advising her fathers and brothers and sisters, mothers, who by law attained the legal age to vote, to make a good choice out of the two. So if out of the two, they make one choice, and the choice they made has not been given to the people, you think that we should not talk about it? If all these things has gone on at the time, so what is it that people think that British Togoland issue should not be discussed? What should people think that British Togoland is in a long time? What is that? Why are people saying that they don't know about British Togoland? If you don't know, you don't read. Go and read. If you don't know, you don't research. If you don't know, because you don't listen to people talking about British Togoland. And that is the reason why some of us waste the time, come here and talk, so that those of you who don't know, now you will know. Now you will know. So all these things is there. Mr. Mojo, right. you were saying about the document that you have. You've never seen them before. Yes, we have more document than that. I can tell you, if you ask a retailer, he will tell you. When I have to go on show for the first time, he requested for document. When I forwarded the document to him, he was screaming. He said, this is too much. This is too much. You said you want document. I'm sending them to you. You see, the documents are there. Me, myself, some I can't even finish reading them. I can't even finish reading them. Too much. Too much. So all these things are there. And you saying that we shouldn't talk about it. This girl have make our grandmother make a very point. You say what? Whichever choice you may decide to make, you must first count the cost. So what are the costs of the union? You have made a choice for union. And what is the cost? Is it the cost? Is the absorption that we have been absorbed into Ghana? That is not the cost of the union. That is integration. Is it the cost of a union to lose your identity? That is not the cost of union. So our forefathers make a good choice, like Mr. Gerardo was saying. They make a good decision because they don't want to. They want to preserve their identity. So they make a choice by choosing the union, because they knew that if we choose the union, we will preserve our identity.
Okay.
And today, where is our identity? And when we talk about it, where is our rights? The right of the people of British Togoland, where are they? And then when we talk about it, they say, don't talk about it. What? I don't get it anyway.
All right. So we are going to continue to talk about this, like I said, on a monthly basis as your time permits, and would invite all our listeners and viewers to indulge us. I want to take the opportunity to say a big thank you to both Mr. Seth Mifetu and Mr. who's the spokesperson for the People's Liberation Council, and also to Mr. Geraldo William, who's the Vice President of the People's Liberation Council. A couple of comments before we go. Alex Gota says he loves that. And he, I believe, again came back and said, please, so if this is the case, do you guys go down with our leaders in Togoland that this is what we are going to do or about to do or beginning to do? Then they will give you guide for we to achieve what we want. Okay, you don't have to answer that. We can answer that when we come back next time. I would like to then give my final comment and say that as we conclude today's show, we are reminded that the situation in the Western Togoland, although largely overlooked by academia and media, is a significant issue with far-reaching implications for the people in the region and the broader stability of Ghana. From the partitioning of the Togoland after World War I, the division of the Ewe people, and the ratification of the union with the Gold Coast that form independence Ghana, the story of Western Togoland is one steeped in history and complexity. The government's further division of the territory into several regions post-independence led to continued tension and an ongoing fight for the self-determination by the group, or groups such as the People's Liberation Council. The rise of secessionist movements like the Western Togoland Restoration Front, advocating for armed struggle, and the appearance of the Dragons of Western Togoland have resulted in an escalation of the tensions. This poses a potential threat to Ghana's long-standing reputation as one of Africa's peaceful and democratically governed countries. The response of the Ghanaian people has been one of increasing pressure against the Homeland Study Group Foundation, leading to the accusation of militarization, exacerbating the tension. As we've noted, military solutions often inflame grievances rather than resolve them. The need for sustainable solution that includes political consensus and that addresses the grievances is clear and very important. There is the real concern that the tension in the Western Togoland remain unaddressed. The situation could escalate, threatening Ghana's stability. Potential paths towards resolution may lie in indigenous peace mechanisms and the involvement of organizations like the National Peace Council and the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. As we end, we must stress that it is crucial to maintain a focus on Western Togoland, supporting peaceful resolutions and addressing the root causes of the conflict. This will help prevent potential destabilization and ensure prosperous future for all Ghanaians. Thanks for joining us in this in-depth discussion. We look forward to bringing you more insights and conversations in the future. Thank you, and thanks to my guests who have spent their precious Saturday afternoon to help me navigate the stories that we've canvassed for you today. We'll be back next week. If it is Saturday, you know it's Ghana Agenda. Thank you, Seth, and thank you to Mr. Gerardo one more time.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the show for today. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.